Bob. I don't know what this
We're
is.
cloning one in the back as we speak. Stay tuned.
We have Alan and Eli, and welcome, guys, to the studio.
Sweet. Thanks for having us.
Whatever you'd like to kick us off with, we'd love to hear.
Sweet.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, thank you.
Lagomorph Quartet live here in the studio. And y'all, if you grew up in the mountains like Kim Lane did, you know what you need to do. And that's go over into the cupboard, get that piece of plywood out that you know you keep in there, throw it down on the floor, and so you can be flat-footing along to what's going on here, because it's going to be like this all night long.
Kim's going to be clogging, is that what we understand?
No.
Well,
Is it true you were raised by wolves in the mountains?
That is true, yes.
Well, how about
They
that?
were dancing wolves, though.
Guys, tell us about that song. Where'd that come from?
That is the Caribou, and last, I guess, 2 New Years ago, Eli couldn't make a contra dance we were playing.
yeah.
And
It was just New Year's.
our
Rub
buddy,
it in. Go ahead, rub it in.
Our buddy Mickey filled in, and they played that tune and learned it. We learned it now, and it's a great tune. It's a French Canadian tune, actually.
They're one of those annoyingly good fiddle players. That's Mickey's really good. Anyway, yeah, French Canadian tune.
So you have a third member of your group who is in Mexico? Who is
We
that?
do.
Nice.
Kyle Wells plays guitar with us.
Kyle, good friend of the station, a good friend of us over there at Yonder when we've been doing our activities over there, and all around good guy. And so, but you have some sort of show coming up, I understand.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that. We've got one right down the road coming up on the 29th, I believe. Right, Alan? That is on a
got a
Thursday.
flyer
It's the last day of February, Leap Day.
Yep,
Oh.
weekday, 29th.
And we're just hopping in excitement.
Do you have a flyer right there?
We do.
There's a camera. You can hold it up
Hold it up.
to the
Oh,
camera.
brilliant. It's our
Well
cheat
done.
sheet. It really.
So you've got several bands.
Yes.
A different thread is actually my sister and brother-in-law.
No kidding. Oh, we love
they-
them.
Alicia and Robert.
Alicia and
Yep.
Robert,
Yep.
yep. And they just moved back to the area.
Yes,
You are glad to see
finally.
that Robert finally got his, whatever they call it, visa,
same
green card.
Yeah.
Green card.
Yeah, thank goodness.
All finished, all good.
Yeah.
And then Stephen Beck and a couple of others.
Yes. A couple friends of ours. It's Gable Beck and Bristol. Wonderful singer-songwriter. Wonderful instrumentalists. It's going to be really fun. I
It's going to
think
be a very good show.
there might
We're very excited for
there
it.
might be a little puppet show.
Yeah, I'm making some
Maybe.
shadow puppets.
Wait, what?
No
Oh, yeah.
kidding.
I'm making some shadow puppets to do a little Lagomorph shadow puppet show during it.
It's a multimedia show.
Yeah.
Thursday, February 29th at Eno House. And if you don't know Eno House, shame on you. It is a fantastic venue. Look it up.
It seems lovely.
It really is.
It is super lovely. As is this music. Will you make Kim Lane dance some more?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Bob is lying.
Yeah, let's a little descending.
It's always good when a song ends with a laugh.
Look, it's a tick. Also, if anyone feels like whooping and hollering at any point, this is you don't have
No,
to be silent.
during this song.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. I mean, also just in your day-to-day life, I guess. It's
Well, we always like to talk about our guests' instruments, and these are very wonderful sounding instruments. Alan, tell us about that mandolin you're tuning, if you would, please.
Yeah, this mandolin is a Friedman mandolin. I used to play in a waltz dance band called Chocolate Suede way back in the day, and my bandmate Jonah Friedman, his father is a luthier
No kidding. Wow.
and makes mandolins, and
That's a
this is
good-looking mandolin.
one of his.
Let us see the back of that thing. Oh,
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's gorgeous. It's got the light wood on most all of it. The front is actually a redwood front.
I wondered about that. Yeah.
the visuals might get lost on the radio, but besides that, it's
Redwood, Bob, somewhere between cedar and spruce, I understand.
Exactly, in terms of its tonal qualities.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mel Friedman. He lives in Port City now, at the coast. But
So there are mandolin waltzes? I guess there are. Mm-hmm. News to me.
And Eli, that fiddle, tell us about that.
that is the first time in my life anyone has ever asked me about my fiddle, and I'm
Really?
quite chuffed. Yeah,
That's why we're here.
This is
I
when we're
saying.
supposed to whoop, right?
I was like, oh, what the? Actually, yeah, I love this fiddle. This thing is was actually made by the husband of one of my first Suzuki violin teachers in 2005.
Wow.
In Hickory, North Carolina. In Blue Ridge Violins, I don't know if he's still in operation, but this is kind of a special violin or fiddle, depending on what you want to call it, because I'm pretty much the only person to ever play this instrument, which for violins is fairly rare.
Yeah.
So I got this in 2008, I believe. And it is my loved fiddle. Alan helped me break it in half one time, and then we fixed it.
Good job, Alan.
Yeah, well, he was Jennifer Curtis.
Must have
Helped
been
me,
doing that clogging.
Yeah.
Somebody kicked up too high.
This thing is wonderful. Fortunately,
You made
I've
the
done-
mistake of letting Jennifer Curtis play it?
Oh gosh, I wish. No, she's such a wonderful player. No, it was knocked by a ne'er-do-well bass player, and then I was also playing.
Aren't
a
they
little-
all?
Thank you.
That's why they were a quartet and now they're a trio.
They kicked him out of the band.
Well, I just like to include. So right now, I feel like we're more quintet vibes. Try to include anybody who's,
Just like opening, just telling the world that you're open to another player to come in and join
So
in.
it's omnitet, I think.
Oh, I
Omnitet.
like that.
Yes. So, but you had shared with us before the show
Yes.
about bows, and there are bows.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Bows cost different amounts, and like an expensive bow, what's the difference?
Well, so most of it is going to be what wood it's made out of. Now, beautiful thing, I actually was super lucky to work at a wonderful shop called the Electric Violin Shop in Durham. One of the only electric string shops in the world is actually in Durham, North Carolina. There's only one other. It's in Japan, and actually ours was first. Not anything.
Is it still around?
It's still around, still functioning. They're wonderful people. But they taught me a lot of luthier skills, and so I've been gluing this violin back. Unfortunately, violins, you have to use a natural rawhide glue so that they can expand with it, which normally doesn't do too well in the presence of salty fluids or saline solution, which is why normally you don't see sweaty violinists or fiddle players.
Right.
Instead of that, I decided to just be a very sweaty fiddle player, and I have to glue this thing back together every once in a while, which, yes, is a bit of a travesty. But
Messy and a chore, but
And the bow, that
this
bow, what
bow-
kind of wood is that? Do we know?
I do. It's definitely not wood.
There we go, Bob.
These days, actually,
it's not Pernambuco?
So this is a carbon fiber bow, which it's very helpful for hard-headed fiddle players. And
Good.
This is actually kind of a cool little experimental bow by some folks at P&H London, where they made an experimental bow model with a replaceable shock of hair so that I could potentially rehair this by myself. In Illinois,
If you grew your hair long enough, you could.
I could. I thought about it, and then most wise people in my life advised me against growing my hair long for a while. But, I might revisit that.
Well, everybody, that concludes the instrument portion of our show, and we're ready to
No, gear talk.
no,
We're
we're ready
supposed
to
to call
move
it
on
gear
to
talk.
more
Right,
music.
Gear talk, yeah.
What do you want to play?
Ooh. Let's do the Brenda the Bearboon set. This will be a couple of reels. These are both going to be traditional Irish reels.
You want to kick it?
And y'all feel free to dance or whoop along with us in the studio.
Yeah. Give me me 4 chucks, Al.
You might
Excuse me, I'm... Pay no attention to that noise. Thanks for that. I noticed the hup. That was a great hup. Perfectly timed.
Somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
So these traditional songs like Rios, we're interested in the arrangement of them. Is there a set arrangement where you trade off the leads and as you're trading off, the other person plays rhythms, or is it just what you're feeling like, or how do you do that?
It's a little of both of that. We play a lot of contra dances.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
You sound like you do.
Yeah, which is usually you're working with a caller who's instructing dancers on the dance floor. It's a lot like a square dance, but in long lines down the hall. Originally comes from English folk dancing in New England. And with a contra dance, you're playing usually 1, 2, or 3 tunes over the course of the 8-minute dance. And you're just keeping that dance beat going. That's the most important part, keeping the dance beat going and keeping it square so that when they move to the next progression of the dance, the tune is starting over again.
But I think one of the big things with playing for dances, and one of the really fun things about playing for dances, is you have to be flexible to respond to your dancers. And because you're really there as partially a supporting role to give the dancers something really pleasant, something really rewarding to kind of dance to. So it's kind of nice that it lends itself to a little bit more of, I wouldn't even say improvisational, but just
You have to be loose, and people aren't
flexible.
looking at us.
But it's really nice because I think there's a lot more communicating energy with the audience and communicating energy with yourselves as far as just looking for little tics.
In that situation, we don't have mics too, so we'll just halfway through a song, I'll just like look at Kai and Eli and be like, "Hey, you guys drop out," and then it's just me playing for like a whole time through.
Oh,
and
it's
just,
terrifying.
we're playing, and they'll start adding little bits in, so it's a lot of improvisation around a tune structure.
Alan will just look in the middle of playing in front of a live group of people. Alan will just look at me and go, and I'm like, what? What did you just say? Something's about to happen.
So do you see these dancers maybe built? You mentioned energy, building up energy and going faster, and you have to like go. Do the tempo change at all?
Oh man, I want to play for that dance. I sometimes can go too fast.
Well, when
Often-
you like a contra dance, it's different from square dancing. If people are listening and they're like, "What's the difference?" Watching a contra dance is kind of like watching an amoeba because you're watching lines come in and out on each other, and then they break into small groups briefly, and then they go back. Is that where you're watching? Are you watching the amoeba?
We're watching the amoeba, and we're
Okay.
watching for certain, like you said, long lines going forward and back. There's
Yep.
often things where the whole hall, everyone is in their different long lines. They
Yep.
all walk 4 steps to each other and then 4 steps back.
So
and
you-
we're trying to like punctuate things like that.
You have
Yeah.
to ride with them.
We got to ride with them. We got to make the tune sort of structure the dance a little bit.
That's curious. When you started this description, I was thinking of you guys, the band, as kind of puppet masters, as you're controlling the dancers out there, but you're describing something that's much more of a two-way street
Oh
where
yeah, that would be boring.
you guys are controlling each other.
It's
really.
almost like the caller's the puppet master.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're,
Right.
We're playing along.
part of it.
You know,
Yeah.
it's we could theoretically arrange something in a concrete way, but that just doesn't sound like quite as much fun.
Well, this Leap Day live show that we're doing
Oh yes.
at the end of the month,
On the 29th?
on the 29th.
The 6:45 is when?
Yeah, at Eno House, I believe.
Oh yeah.
We are going to be arranging things a little more because we're having an audience that's watching us as opposed to a whole hall of dancers. So things, we won't play one tune for 8 minutes. We'll play one tune for 2 minutes.
Will there be any room for dancers? Will there be people dancing?
Yes, please, if you want to.
I hope so.
There you go, Bob. You can get your dancing shoes out,
You know-
and we'll get our camera.
And my G-string. It's going to be a good time.
A wise person once said, "If get out a board that you've got in your house, and maybe something about dancing on it."
Yes.
I can't quite remember what
That's how you do. You lay the board out and you dance on it.
Okay, Bob, we need to take you to a contra dance, see how this really goes.
Oh, you'd love it. It's a lot of fun. It's a little silly.
I lived about 15 years up around Todd, and in the fall, every little town has their harvest festival, the apple festival, whatever, and basically it's a flatbed truck with a bluegrass band, and they throw out a couple of sheets of plywood, and there will be the oldest person you've ever seen in your life dancing everybody else into the ground.
Yep.
It's
Oh.
amazing
That
to
is true.
watch.
We
Accurate.
play with another group, the Tandem Sober Gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
And
We love
sometimes at shows we'll have that person will get up to dance, and we're playing so fast and so hard. They start dancing. I'm just, please don't
Don't have a heart
Oh, and
attack.
they
have a
kick
heart
our
attack.
butts.
Like, keep it up, and they do. They dance hard.
Oh, I was also going to say, I don't know if this is a fun fact to anybody but nerds such as myself, but there are something you were asking about kind of communicating and structuring songs. And particularly in like the Irish circles and Contra, there are some little secret things like the WHUP. We were saying there is actually a rhyme and reason to that, and that just means musician language that something is happening.
Yeah.
So if you ever see people, particularly people playing in a group, and they go WHUP, it probably means we're going on to the next song in the set.
Yep.
But if you ever see somebody kick, and the joke is you throw a leg. And the throw a leg means, for the love of all that is good, please stop the next time. That we all come up to the next normal stopping place.
But
We're
the
getting
Hup
tired.
Is also, Eli tends to close his eyes
Look,
when he's
man.
playing and go off into the world, and he doesn't look around. And
I
then
live
I
with
have
passion.
To, I have
Wake
to
up.
give him a Hup, and he'll look at me. What?
Once in a while, you open your eyes to just a whole lot of stressed people making very pointed eye contact.
Well, Kirk's fixing to say "hup" and play another song.
Yep, I was. You read my mind.
Can you play us another song?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You want to play your tune?
I would love that, Alan. This is an original that I wrote, actually, about a really good Monday that I had.
A really good what?
A really good Monday that I had.
That is a rarity.
It's called One
I would
Fine Monday.
document that
One
too.
Fine Monday. Eli is also available for violin and fiddle
Oh,
lessons.
you're
You know,
incorrigible.
just a little plug. This is
Thanks.
what he can do.
How do people get in touch with him for violin and fiddle
Oh,
lessons?
why? EliHowellsViolin.com?
Oh, so you have a website.
I do.
But the band doesn't.
I am making a Lagomorph Quartet. I'm saying this on the record as the official, non-official binding. Anywho, this is One Fine Monday. Oh, thanks, y'all.
Lagomorph Quartet live here in the studio.
There was a little blues in there. I heard it.
Hey.
I did. There was one little slide blues thing he did. He just couldn't help himself.
I know.
Which brings us to an important question. Did you guys grow up playing this music? What was in your ears when you were kids? And what brought you here?
We're actually both violin Suzuki kids originally.
I'm so sorry.
Nerd.
I know, right?
Thank you. Yes.
Eli stayed with it. I got out early.
You had sense.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
At how old were you?
I was 10 when I stopped playing Suzuki.
And when you started?
5.
Oh, goodness.
And you?
I started when I was about 8.
Okay.
So I was about 8, and then I never had the common sense to stop. It was kind of I'm kidding. By the way, you should learn classical violin and
From
fiddle,
Eli.
if you want. That would be lovely.
That would be EliHowesViolin.com.
Indeed.
1 L or 2?
That would be 2 L's.
Two L's.
Howells.
So you both learned violin via the
little
Suzuki
classical, yeah.
method. Was that the music that you listened to?
So I grew up with my family contra dancing. So there's Irish music and French Canadian, like reels and jigs and old time music, and that's what I mostly.
And no Iron Maiden.
Not for me. I mean, my dad had a lot of 80s music that I listened to a lot as well.
That's 80s music now, Kim Lane.
I know, right? It's painful. Don't listen to Throwback Thursdays anymore because it makes you question a lot of stuff. I really wish I could see the Alan Best that was molded by Iron Maiden from a young age, as well as American folk music. 'Cause
That would be a different beast.
The reason I
happy.
brought that up is we've had a fair number of mandolin players here in the studio, and
I'm so sorry.
a vast majority of them, when we asked them, how did you come to be playing mandolin, said, well, first I was playing guitar in a heavy metal band.
Really?
Yes, so there are a huge number of mandolin players out there who were just in their heads, just thrashing away at heavy metal still, which, and I think there's something analogous between being a heavy metal guitarist and playing
It's
a
like
mandolin.
mini thrashing.
There's a weird connection between bluegrass and metal music.
Oh,
Amen.
man.
Yeah.
With the rhythms and the speed, and I've never actually been very much of a bluegrass musician.
Can I jump in for a second? Because, man, I love this. All you nerds, it's all classical stuff. Like, I know, we hate
here
to
we go.
admit it, but like, so I grew up Suzuki, and if you're not familiar, the Suzuki method is a music school about memorization and ear training. And so you listen to this accursed CD, and by that I mean it's wonderful, go listen to it, but it's a CD of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, amongst others, that you listen to multiple times a day, every day, for a long time. And it's great because it really grows your ear, it really helps with memorization. I think it's a wonderful way to learn. However, I did listen to some very cheesy classical music growing up. And what's really interesting is, particularly, I mentioned electric strings earlier, there has been a growing wave of, I think, classical musicians who have been a bit more freed up to play things like metal. The amount that you see classical technique and chord structure and these things both pop up in particularly these really technically impressive forms of bluegrass and metal that are really virtuosic. It's really fun because I also know there's a classical kid out there that's like, finally! Ha ha ha! You know, oh!
Do you all
I can do
follow
this.
Allie, the bagpipe player?
Yes.
You
Oh,
follow
she's
her?
wonderful. And Mia as
and
well.
Mia, the
Wonderful player.
the electric violin player. So they riff on her bagpipe, and then Mia on the fiddle. They travel around the country. They were recently in
Yes.
Nashville, and they play metal songs on bagpipe and electric violin.
How come I have not heard of
I'm
this?
so in love with both of them.
I am so here for heavy metal bagpipe.
It's really magnificent. I'm a huge fan of mandolin. When you picked that up, did you what brings you to the mandolin? Are you like, this is how I'm getting dates? This one right here.
That was it. Wasn't
Come
it?
to me.
My
All
other
for the
instrument
ladies.
is the accordion. So
Yeah,
I
you
had
were-
to find
Okay.
something. But no, I was playing accordion with a singer-songwriter when I was like 18. Ella Bertram, another local.
Oh yeah,
And-
we know Ella.
And yeah, we were in a band called the Air Mountaineers, actually named after Air Mount.
Yep.
And I was playing accordion, and she was like, "We should find a mandolin player." And I was like, "Accordion does not work on every song." So I picked up the
What?
accordion. I picked up the mandolin, and I started.
Somebody might
started
punch you in the
learning
face if you say that in the wrong crowd.
I mean, yeah,
Didn't
yeah. So I started playing the mandolin, and
Accordion's not needed on every
I think
song.
Ella Bertram provided the tractor pull trophy for Jonathan Byrd?
I believe that. I don't know if that's true, but I believe it.
I think that's the story. Jonathan Bird has a song called Tractor Pull, and he would get up and he'd say, and there'd be a trophy on stage, and he said, after I did this song a few times, someone came up, Ella Bertram I'm pretty sure it was Ella Bertram, came up and gave me this trophy, and he said, I can't take your Tractor Pull trophy to be on stage, and she said, it's okay, I got a lot of them.
I believe that.
That's good.
Well, everybody, we are enjoying our time tremendously with the Lagomorph Quartet, and we are WHUP LP Hillsboro. It is the top of the hour, and Bob, we're so fortunate to have an hour 2 sponsor. Tell us about that.
That's
You
right.
are a spokesmodel now.
Support for this second hour of Pass the Hat is sweetly provided by Matthews Chocolates, 104 North Churton Street, Hillsboro, North Carolina, the finest in chocolate and chocolate accessories for all of your chocolate needs. And let's face it,
We all
have
have
chocolate
chocolate
needs. Y'all get over every holiday is basically a chocolate holiday. We just passed Valentine's Day, so they're a little bit sparse over there at Matthews, but they will be making more, so plan ahead. Don't show up whatever holiday is coming up next. What is it, President's Day?
Yep.
Which is a chocolate holiday, of course.
He's eating all the chocolates.
Are you eating the chocolate already?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
He's making eye contact with me. I think it's
Anyway, place your orders in advance to buy your chocolate, and you will be as happy as our mandolin player is right now.
He's very happy.
That's good chocolate.
Buddy, we need to tell you that all of our shows here on WHUP are recorded by our wonderful IT staff, and the audio are on there not just for Pass the Hat, but for, I don't know, what do we have, like 50 different shows now here at the station?
At least, and they're all good.
And so go on WHUPFM.org, hit shows, scroll down, find Pass the Hat. We've been here for 8 years, so we've got a bunch of hundreds
Mess
of
of shows.
the best in local music, but not just audio. We have moving pictures, Bob. Where do people find the movies?
You can find the movies at Whoop Ass the Hat on your favorite streaming services. And your favorite streaming services are Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. That's at Whoop Ass the Hat, at WHUP Pass the Hat. And you can find the live stream happening right now. And, smile at the camera. And all of the previous live streams. We've been doing these live streams for, maybe 3 years now, once a week.
Maybe
So
4, yeah.
Pile of them out there, and then before that, we were videoing individual songs. We'd have some individual songs out there. So out there on YouTube, especially, piles and piles of entire live streams and a bunch of individual songs, and they are all fantastic. It is an amazing archive.
On demand 24/7, including tonight's video, will be out there a little bit after. Well, it's out there right now.
It's live right now.
So call your friends, tell them, get in here and see the rest of the show, or if they're not available, as Bob said, on demand. And we have a treasure trove of the best of North Carolina music assembled here, probably unparalleled.
Unparalleled, and we've got a treasure of bluegrass, foot-stomping music happening right now. Kim Lane has not been able to keep her feet off the floor.
What are you guys doing with us then? If you got I also forgot this was on camera, and there's definitely going to be some juicy hidden. Just not saying you should check out the live stream, but I shudder to think what might be found.
That shirt might be coming off, y'all. Play some music.
Well, you said something about a waltz earlier on mandolin, so I'm going to play a waltz that I wrote on mandolin.
All right.
Excellent. Just really, really beautiful.
I could hear the waltz in there.
Ellen, tell us about how you came up with that song, the genesis of it. Were you playing like some chords, or did you hear the melody in your head? Was somebody else walking down the street whistling that, and you picked it up, or where'd it come from?
So I call that one the Holly Rock Waltz because Tan and Sober, our other band, used to have a bus that we bought from a church called the Holly Rock Express.
We did not change the number on the side nor the name.
Or the name.
Good call.
And my cousin was actually driving us around one St. Patrick's Day to a bunch of gigs down at the coast and back up this way. And we were driving down the coast from Wilmington to Myrtle Beach, I guess it was. And I was in the back of a noisy, hot bus, and that melody sort of started coming to me. And
Yeah.
it's melody first for me when I write a tune. Melody comes through, and then I'll put chords to it.
So you just remembered it spontaneously? Did you write it down in sheet music, or?
I was in the back of the bus really quietly, kind of playing around with the melody some, and then it started to create a pattern for me, and I'll pull my phone out with a little recorder, and I'll record the thoughts I have, the recording I have, and I'll usually come back to it a couple times to like finalize it and complete it, give it chords.
Nice, love that.
Yeah.
The bus on question caught fire and died hard in Florida, by the way, after many years of good service. And
Hopefully the instruments were all unloaded at the time.
oh yeah, we were fine. It's good for character, I think.
And that is an appropriate death for a former church, now band bus.
Thank
Yes.
you. Yes,
Yeah.
it lived well, lived hard.
And you've mentioned Tan and Sober Gentlemen a couple of times, so now every time I look over there at you guys playing, I'm envisioning Ben Noblin on bass, sticking his tongue out and
Yeah.
standing on the
I'm
bass.
so sorry.
Standing on the bass, yeah.
Try not to envision Ben too much. No, he's a lovely fella. Oh, it's very good fun.
You guys look like you have a lot of fun here and in Tan and Sober.
So is Shikori coming up soon?
It is. We're not.
You're not going to be there this spring?
This year. No, you mean like anyone should still go? I hear lovely things.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a big fun time.
Happy Shikori.
I think I've seen a video of you guys at Shikori, though, just
Yes.
firing it up. Place
Oh, that was good
Went
fun.
crazy, yeah.
We were helped out. There was an amazing film team, Alala.
Oh, yes, that
believe-
happens to be my niece.
Yes, amazing work. They were so nice to work with, and like they were great. I think they were at our last Shikori, which was super fun. But it was a fascinating experience to come straight from a wedding into a Shikori Hills performance. But
Yeah.
it was good.
Does
So-
that mean you're so booked up now that you were not able to do Shikori? Did you have something else come up?
I am not. I'm going to say yes. Because that sounds
Good answer.
very nice.
It sounds cool, doesn't it?
I appreciate. Yeah, that sounds very cool.
Yeah.
I do think so. It's been really nice, honestly. I think Al and I have both had 1 or 2 weekends off, and then we're about to hit some March Madness, which
Okay.
means a very different thing for us, I think, than.
You're playing the basketball tournament.
Oh, unfortunately.
Eli's very good at basketball. So
I'm
yeah.
great
They're
at
playing
ball.
the spelling bee on the 17th.
They're
So
going to be down there with you.
Tan and Sober has their own website, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yes.
TanandSober.com.
People can look up and find out where that band is going to be playing as a high-energy experience, that's for sure. And lots of videos out there. I really enjoy watching those.
It was not. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna put a plug. My wonderful partner grew up here in Hillsborough, and she really helped us out with the last show that we did, doing some amazing films. I'm actually really excited. I normally have a hard time with photos and video of myself, but it's so nice to work with some really talented, cool people, much like your niece, who I can actually watch those videos and be like, wow. Oh, that's really fun.
That's okay.
Oh, thanks. Wow, that's great.
Well, we're not here to talk about Tan and Sober Gentlemen. We're here to hear Lagomorph. And you guys have been rocking so far. Can you play some more music?
Yeah, we'd love to. No, I've given up on the music.
Perfect. Lagomorph Quartet live here in the studio.
You drop your bow on the last note. I'm sorry.
It was all planned. Tell us, that was a fascinating piece of work. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's two tunes we played. The first one is
Catharsis.
Catharsis. It's Irish.
That is actually a modern, well, pseudo-modern Appalachian tune these days.
The opening of that song sounded amazingly like, to you, not heavy metal players, the opening of Led Zeppelin's Battle of Evermore.
Sure. Yep.
John Paul Jones, great mandolin player.
I was saying the Led Zeppelin has mandolin in a lot of songs.
Yeah, and the opening that you did, I looked over at Kim Lane and I said, "That's Led Zeppelin."
Yeah.
And she looked at me and said, "The hell are you talking about?"
There's mashup potential in that. I was like, ooh. But and the second one was another, I would say more modern. And when we say modern, it's probably like made after the 90s or written after the 90s, really, like, you know. But called Wizard's Walk, which is a wonderful kind of, I like how it has some of the classical and also klezmer and French Canadian influences.
Yeah, and that one's very popular in the contradance world. Both those tunes are very good.
Those two together, that was a high energy rocking kind of a song.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Trying to figure out what was going on. I said, "Well, so this one has two parts, A and B, and then what?" I thought it was all the same song, and then there's a C and D. Did you bounce back and forth?
They forgot
between the
to
two?
say "hup."
No, but he's done it to me before.
He said "hup."
Oh, I missed it. I totally missed
Well,
the
the
hup.
I did one hup.
two dovetail those two songs beautifully. Yeah.
Thank you. I love that combination. It's really fun. I love an excuse to just go faster and faster. Sometimes dancers go, but it's really fun sometimes at a concert dance. There'll be a moment when everyone comes up to the front and everyone just swings as fast as they can, and you can kind of be like, ooh, fun to...
Faster.
Yeah, not that I would ever play too fast.
Everybody, we are here with the Lagomorph Quartet. You can chase them down on Facebook and Instagram.
And you should.
You should.
More importantly, you should stalk them on Leap Day this year.
Up
Oh,
the
yes.
road.
On the 29th,
Yep.
up the road at Eno House.
February?
February 29th, I'm thinking it's about 6:15 or so.
There's a flyer I saw somewhere.
You know, if you show pretty much any time, I'll be accommodating. You know,
They will say "hup" and start playing.
Oh yeah,
That's right. Hard not to.
it is kind of my happy place. It doesn't take that much. If someone's just like, "Hey, would you sit in the corner and play tunes?" I'm like, "Yes, please. I'd love that."
All right. Will you sit right there and play tunes?
Yes, please. Absolutely. Yeah.
We will give you bourbon and chocolate.
It was really nice
All we
'cause
need.
Alan and I were commiserating before this. We were like, you know, there might have been an expectation of somebody's dulcet tones singing or doing some songs. And
Yeah.
Where's,
we don't-
where's Alicia when we need her?
I know, right?
oh, she's off doing cool kid stuff.
Yeah.
C'est la vie. So yeah, stuck with us.
It has been a very good show so far.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
God, yeah, seriously, thank you all for having us. Let's do the. So just not to procrastinate, but Irish tunes often have the weirdest names. I believe this one's Devil in the Straw Stack.
Oh yeah.
Patty on the
Devil in
Landfill?
Straw Stack, Patty on the Landfill.
Uh-huh.
That's the second one.
Y'all see that leg come out? The
Was it
leg come
time?
out. It was time. He
It
had
was
to stop.
time.
Oh yeah.
He was sweating up his violin and
Look, I live with
had to glue
passion.
it back.
All right, it's exuberance.
He was melting the rawhide glue.
It makes
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, man.
right. I mean,
We had already
same
looked-
here, brother.
We had already made a look at each other that we knew it was going to end, but I just instinctually couldn't help.
There
but
was a
kick my leg up.
theatrical, yeah. You didn't. The last HUP was good spirit, but
You know, it's interesting. I'm just looking at you both because I get to do that, and you all are both. You're both dressed like you're working out, like dressed for the show. But like, no, I'm looking at like you've got your barefoot shoes on, which I love those, by the way. Those are badass. And then like you're ready for a workout
yeah.
today. You got your t-shirt on. You're not playing around.
Alan, I'm so glad you're wearing shoes. You've grown so much.
You and Bob must have something in common.
I rarely wear shoes.
Yep.
Look, it's good for you. I'm a barefoot boy myself, but
I mean, when you grew up homeschooled, like,
yeah, okay, but
why would you put shoes on?
grocery stores, gas stations,
They usually ask
public
you to put shoes
decency.
on, but
I've only ever been thrown out of Wellspring Grocery. Which you would think that would be the
Irony.
place that would
Right.
let you be barefoot, but no.
I support them. I support.
Well, their answer was, "We don't want you bleeding on our floor." And I was like,
Ooh.
I don't want to bleed on your floor either.
I'm not bleeding.
That is also.
They had glass across their floor at
Yeah.
Wellspring.
I think they were worried about perhaps having glass across their floor.
Well, they need to take better care of that
It's like,
place.
ooh, that's
right?
kind of exciting, though. I don't know.
Now, where can people give you money? Like, where can
That is
people
such a
go
nice-
buy your music? Versus, like, streaming is great and we love
Well-
it, but where can they throw money at you?
At us, hiring us for a dance or a
Yes.
private party or a
Okay.
wedding.
We are. We have some of our music is on Spotify. We're actually going to try to record some more as soon as possible. As soon as those stars align. But we're available for pretty much any social function.
And folks find you at Lagomorph Quartet on both
Instagram or
Instagram and Facebook.
Yes.
Right?
Yep, and our Gmail too, lagomorphquartet@gmail.com. That's where we'll book everything through.
You guys want them at your next party.
That's right. We
Absolutely.
can play background music in a corner, bring our own sound system.
We can
It's
do
a great-
covers.
You know
great
what
time.
Durham has the capacity to do, and hear me out all, flash contra dance, flash
Oh,
mob
yes.
contra dance.
Oh, I'm so here for this.
Main Street, Chapel Hill Street, intersection, it's on.
I'm so
So
down.
let's
I
do
love
it.
So in.
Yeah. So get organized, people. Let's do this.
Made me happy. On the inside.
Well, Bob and Kim direct one of my stages at Durham Centerfest,
Yes.
and I was just thinking, sitting here, that that your trio would be like perfect for that stage. So
yeah,
Durham
it
Arts
would.
Council,
Totally a quartet.
Thank you.
or a quartet, or a quintet, or whatever they decide to be, spontaneous.
Omnitet. Yeah.
Anyway, in April, the Durham Arts Council website, go on there or start looking around March for put in your application for Durham Centerfest, and I coordinate all the stages there and have for 12 years now.
Cool.
And you guys would be perfect for that. We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
Shoot, we absolutely will. I mean, no pressure besides the small social pressure that we're creating right now. But thank you. That means the world.
Well, you'd be perfect.
Oh, that's.
And also the Cardboard
Kim,
Music
if Kim wants
Festival.
to, Kim wants to like coordinate a spontaneous flash dance in the streets of Durham,
Oh, I would
There we
totally do that.
I'm in. Please, I'm so down.
I wouldn't dance myself, but I would coordinate that in a
You
hot
grew
minute.
up in Black Mountain contra dancing. Why
oh
would
my
you
gosh,
not
yeah,
dance?
dance?
that's the most legit.
That
that's-
was-
yeah.
We
That
just-
was how I spent my Friday nights in high school. I was either working, the Blue Cone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked there all through high school.
No way.
And on Friday nights when I was free, I went contra dancing every Friday night. Like that was my social thing to do.
Yeah, so she
Yeah.
says she's not going to
Yeah.
dance. She's going to
I'm gonna
dance.
dance.
Oh,
We just went up there and played the old farmer's ball.
yep.
Stop.
Yep.
And no pressure, but please dance
Jelly.
if you want.
Jelly. Well, we've got time to hear one more song. So can you play us out?
What do we play?
Yeah. I think we should play.
Can do the.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, this is a tune that I wrote called Squirrel Trails, and then we're gonna go into a modern Irish tune.
This is a modern one called "Dot the Dragon's Eye." And I think it's Henneke Castle's the one who wrote that.
Yeah.
Y'all have been listening to the Lagomorph Quartet. There's only 2 of them here in the studio, but it's still a quartet live here on Pass the Hat. We hope you have enjoyed yourself. It is time for the live stream to end. The show does not end, so you live stream folks, tune in to WHUPFM.org, or if you're here in the footprint of Hillsborough, to FM 104.7 WHUP, and you can hear the playlist that these guys brought in. It's going to be a pretty fun playlist. We're going to turn it over. Well, actually, I think the very first song off the playlist we're going to play is one of yours, Barraburn Reel and Brenda.
We may or may not have played that a little earlier. And thank you all so much for having us. Seriously,
Thank
it
you.
means the
This
world.
was so
It's
fun.
so
Wave.
fun.
You got to wave to the camera. We're gonna turn this sucker off.